Hey, hey. Hi, guys. All right. So I said I'd be back at 10, but Aries walked me a little bit longer. And because he was such a good boy while I was down sick, I couldn't force him to shorten it up. Anyway, let's get into this, though, shall we? So we're going to get into a specific message. These are the ones where if something highly specific comes to mind, then I go ahead and I focus on that and we let that start our storyline. So the image of somebody who's got either a very dry mouth or sore throat, or and I don't know if this is going to be someone who's like got a hi guys, great to see you. I don't know if this is going to be someone who's got like tension, like lots of times we think of having a dry mouth as like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. So that could be part of the energy on this. I don't know yet, but let's just begin and see. Hi everybody, great to see you all tonight. So great to be back. I have missed you guys terribly. So we start with an Eight of Swords. Okay, so if we have an individual whose mouth is dry, it could very well be cataclysmic awakening. Welcome, but it could very well be that we have someone who's this is stuck. This is trapped. This is feeling vulnerable because she doesn't have clothes on in this card. And we do have this cobra sneaking up behind her. Now, that would fill me with a lot of fear if I found out that there was a cobra behind me. But remember, this is year of the snake. So we're not really afraid of snakes this year. This is the year where we embrace it because it's about change. So something is look, what I wonder is if somebody is nervous, like the snake is nervous, like I'm sneaking up behind her and I don't know how she's going to react when she turns around and sees me. I don't know how she's going to feel. I'm almost thinking that we may have a feminine who could be like in the middle of getting dressed, getting out of the shower, when there's like a knock on her door. Maybe she's, how we like scramble all of a sudden. It's like, crap, somebody's ringing my doorbell. I haven't got clothes on, I'm tangled up in a towel. I'm tripping over this. It almost feels like she's going to be ensnared or entangled in something. A picture could fall off somebody's wall. I definitely feel like this is an unexpected moment to have, I'm going to say, a visitor. We've got the Knight of Cups. Okay. By the way, no one has mentioned it yet, but you do realize that I'm honoring the night owls tonight with my necklace. If you guys are here tonight, you're the night owls, right? It's everybody who's up late, and you guys have started calling yourselves that. And so I thought I need to honor this properly. So with the Knight of Cups, I'm sorry, I digress, but I had to mention that just because you guys, I love you. With the Knight of Cups, though, this is an action taker. This is somebody showing up. I feel like I'm not using snake in a bad way here, but I do feel like the Knight of Cups is the snake in this story. This is somebody sneaking up on her. This is somebody who perhaps is doing something very out of character for them. This would be new. This would be unexpected because the snake is a year that we shed our old skin, so they may be coming in different. Cataclysmic awakening, thank you so much. If your name just turned green, that is courtesy of Cataclysmic Awakening. You are now members courtesy of Cataclysmic. Thank you, Angel. So Divine Feminine 1111, Legina Davis, Amy Milliken, Elizabeth Schumer Hamilton, and Courtney Taylor, you guys are all now members, so you have access to the members corner. Okay, so you can check that playlist out, and you won't want to miss it probably, because each week we do some winners in the members corner. This Queen of Cups is everything in this story. This is her. This is the person that a Knight of Cups is sneaking up on. Okay, we've got, I don't know if this Knight of Cups, we need to talk about him or her for just a moment here, but somebody likes ice cubes. Maybe, again, that would make sense. A person whose throat is dry or mouth is dry. Maybe they're like, chewing on ice, sucking on ice right now, trying to like moisten their lips so that they can make that phone call. Her phone's going to ring. It's probably while she's either getting into bed or getting up in the morning. It's definitely a moment in time where it's like she wasn't expecting it. She could get tangled up in a phone charger or some kind of like, be mindful, don't run for the phone, feminine. But this person, I feel like they are the ones who are like dialing a number, and I literally feel like somebody's hands are like trembling or something, but they may have like a beverage or something with ice in it. I don't know if this is, one bourbon, one scotch, one beer. That song is in my head right now, so I don't know if that's what they're sipping on right now. But this is, they're kind of in statue mode. You notice that we have a statue and we can't really see the person's head, but then there's this gigantic ice cube up above. This Knight of Cups is putting out the phone call to her. We also have, like, I want to say the word extremophile comes to mind right now. You know, extremophiles are the kind of, like, usually ancient bacteria, archaea, that can live in the really extreme climate. So we find them around like the vents of like fissures in the ocean floor, or right around volcanoes. You know, there's always, life can live in sometimes very crazy places. And this is just reminiscent to me of some old science courses I took, just some microbiology stuff. And this looks very much like an up close imagery of like something through an electron microscope. So I don't know if somebody works in that industry, or if it's just because extremophile instantly came to mind. If that maybe explains this person's personality just a little bit. Maybe they are a person who lives life in a bit of extremes. Maybe they like the dry mouth. Maybe they like the shaky hands. Maybe they do suddenly take the action to like express themselves, express their heart. But she's the one going to be answering the phone. Now, our feminine may have a cat. She could be somebody who's going to be really thrilled to hear this phone call, even though at first I think it's a bit of a shocker. I think it's going to come at a time when she was feeling a little bit, I don't know. Remember that Eight of Swords started her out. Like maybe she was feeling a little stuck. She's been feeling a little bit like nothing changes in her own life. So this could be a very welcome surprise. We also have some decidedly like Renaissance artwork. It's not quite Venus on a half shell, but it's definitely in like the kind of the style of like a Raphael maybe, or, Leonardo, Da Vinci. This feels like not DiCaprio. I don't know if he does art, but we have like some classical art possibly somewhere in her home. I would say in her bedroom specifically. She's here receiving this phone call. And I think it's maybe just what she needed. She needed to hear from this person, this individual. Sorry, guys. I know that screen was buffering there for a second. I think things get bogged down sometimes on the YouTube platform once in a while as I'm doing these live streams. Maybe I talk too much, too fast. But I think we're good again. So sorry if everything like froze for a split second there. But with the Ten of Cups being, I mean, obviously it's somebody that she has to have known before. She's excited to hear from them. This feels good. She's warm. She's glad to hear their voice. Instantly, I feel like both of them are pretty much like getting me a little like the feel goods, the electric shock waves. We've got a little bit of that here. We've got like a dry desert, but then we've got this beautiful sunset now. It's like everything becomes better instead of just having a dry desert and like, oh, it's night and I'm alone again. It's like it's desert and it's beautiful evening sky, evening sunset. You know how just little happy things in our life give us that perception shift? And I feel like that's really happening for her in this. But it's a two-way street, right? Ten of Cups is shared energy. And we have these two, like he's like whispering right into her ear. She's really enjoying this. Could be a sexy conversation, okay? For this to come up out of nowhere, turns into a very sexy conversation. Because even though it's only on the phone, oh God, what's that song? Baby Kiss Me Through the Phone. I'll see you when I get home. Something like that. It's like he's there. It's like his arms are around her, even though we know he's not. He could wear a cowboy hat. Let's change decks and go a little further. What's he calling for? I mean, Ten of Cups says it feels like this is love. It feels like this is two people who are thrilled to talk to each other. Knight of Swords. We saw him first as a Knight of Cups, now as a Knight of Swords. I don't love that he keeps coming as knights, but on the other hand, oh God, is that Wiz Khalifa? Whenever you call baby, I'll roll up. I'll roll up. That's what this feels like. Is he'll be there in a second. If he can come to her, come see her. I'm not saying it's a booty call. That's not really the vibe that I'm getting, because we've got that Ten of Cups. Look at the Hermit, mostly in the reverse, still at a somewhat tilted angle. I don't think that he's hoping for just some, random like, hey, help me make it through the night kind of energy. I think it's maybe this is not somebody who wants to be out there on their own anymore. I don't even know if they've had a very easy time. This person, although they're dressed elegantly, obviously it looks like, his tunic has been torn, and it looks a little like the weary traveler to me. And it's like, I don't want to be the weary traveler. And here also, the same like red, beautiful garment is still like, kind of in tatters and halfway off. And it just feels like somebody is, I'll say, road weary right now. We're going to say him for sure. He could be a Virgo, by the way, specifically now that we've got that Hermit. Death card. Oh, he's ready to change his whole life. He's ready to come on home. And I'm getting this, like, an energy of marriage. She could be, because I'm hearing like the mission bells, and I'm hearing all kinds of, oh God, songs that I can't even, there's some song about, and the mission bells rang. I grew up listening to all kinds of music, but there's some really old country music that has this wonderful Spanish sound to it. Like there's some different pieces by Willie Nelson. There's some different pieces with Chris Christopherson. There's some different pieces with like, oh gosh, even older than that, like Roy or Marty Robbins did some really great like ballads and stuff. But many of those are bumping through my head right now. And we just have, this feels very like Spanish to me, with the rose in her hair and the kind of like a Spanish mission. It feels like he's ready to come home, and I'm gonna say ready to be married, ready to like be home every night instead of just have like an on the phone conversation kind of relationship. I'm wondering if that's all this was before, or that was the best he could have offered in the past. And now it's like, I don't want this to be a long distance, or I don't want to, travel for work anymore. I don't want to be gone all the time anymore. So, okay, Melly, thank you for letting me know, sweetheart. Thank you. You guys, hang on just a second. I think I can fix the audio here if it's funky. Give me just a split second, and I think it's going to freeze on you guys for just a second, but I'll be right back. Right. Okay, guys, I hope that kind of reset the audio just a little bit. I see some of you are saying that the audio is good, but hopefully it's a little bit smoother now. Okay, with the King of Swords and the Four of Cups here, this could be a Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. Now we're getting, he's been just a knight, and now we're stepping into King's territory. That's good. That's really good. If that's what the big change is, that's why we had that Death card. He's done roaming. He's done being out there alone. He doesn't want that life anymore. I keep feeling like this has something to do with a career path, just because that's what this always looks like to me, is a career path. We've got him standing there in front of, a police station. And if, let's say this is somebody who's ready to retire from a career that kept them, maybe a relationship was difficult. Look, if she's ever spent time waiting on him, waiting for him to come home, this is him like saying, I'm ready to come home. Maybe that was the ultimatum here. Because I would say that there's something here about the way she might be stunned, shocked. You notice how she's, slapping a hand over her face. You notice here she's been like, this will never happen. And yet we have this massive change. We're going to call him the King of Swords. So they could be a Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. But remember, we did have Virgo and Scorpio as well, because of that Death and Hermit card. Everything here to me says that she has been, by the way, she may wear white a lot or look really good in white, but she's probably never thought this day would come. That's Possibly why this is such a shock to her, possibly why his mouth is dry. I'm going to say maybe both of their mouths are dry, because talking to each other on the phone all of a sudden out of the blue, it could be a stunner for her. In fact, let's take a look at that. How is she going to feel suddenly hearing from him? I mean, if that death card is her reaction, that, that would make sense. And I say that and we get the death card again. This death and rebirth on this card is what they call it. So it's a lot of emotions to go through all at once, right? It's like the bottom drops out of her world and then is replaced by like a whole new reality. What do you mean it's you on the phone? I didn't think I'd hear your voice again. What do you mean you want to come home? You're this is unexpected. This is different. Maybe she kind of never really thought that this would happen. There's excitement. There's an instant, like obviously the flood of, hope and emotions between both of them is still right there. Their conversation, there's going to be something really, really intense about their conversation. The, talking into, I feel like she does more listening and he does more of the talking, but it's as if the talk is like a caress or something. It's like hearing somebody's voice. Maybe she even thought she forgot his voice. She did not. She did not forget anything about him. But hearing from him it's kind of like a reality shaker, because on one hand, it brings back the past. On the other hand, it's all about the future. And I think that there's something here where it's like, okay, the Emperor is here. I said, how is she going to feel hearing from him on the phone? Because I don't think she has any inkling that it's him on the other end when this phone call comes through. I think it's going to be a pretty big shock. I do feel like he must have a really nice voice, because lions have a very impressive, sound. That vocal tone is unbelievable. That I love the sound of lions. I like the sounds of all animals, like purring, or I even like the sound of, like Aries and his little grunts that he does, or hearing him snore at night. It always makes me smile. But I think in particular, there's she's very attuned to the change in him. There's something, I honestly feel like, I don't think he's speaking in an imperious manner, like, I'm coming over, this is how it's going to be. But I do think that he's coming across to her as somebody who knows what he's doing, knows what he wants. Because she's definitely hearing a different pitch or tone in his voice, but I think it's more the intention, the seriousness. Let's make sure that that's legit and not wishful thinking, all right? Because yes, we can see him taking the action in the first place to make that phone call. Let me ask it this way. Why are you placing that phone call in the first place? King of Swords. Two of Swords. On this hand, it says, I know it's not necessarily that we would call this the Justice card, but the Libra scales are there. So, and there's the heart and the feather, the Two of Swords is normally about blockages, but in this case, it's like his heart is what's on the line. So, we can say he's on the line talking on the phone, but it's actually his heart that's on the line. We have the High Priestess and we have the Seven of Pentacles. I'm asking, why are you placing this phone call in the first place? And it's almost like, I don't just want to say that it's like, well, because it's the right time now, because this says that there's this powerful, either he may be saying, because I'm pulled toward her in an inexplicable way. As a High Priestess, she carries the energy of the moon. The moon is only a quarter of the size of Earth, and yet it's so powerful as it orbits us that it tugs on Earth and moves the Earth just enough that it splashes the water on the surface, and that's what makes our tides. That's pretty darn powerful for something so little by comparison, right? So I'm thinking that on one hand, he's like, I'm pulled into her orbit. I can't help myself. What do you mean? How come I'm calling her? How can I not call her? I don't know if he's trying to say, I feel like she's compelling me to call her. I don't love it if that's the answer on that. With that Seven of Pentacles, this is like, because I'm thinking of her like day and night, night and day, and I can't help myself. Oh, how funny.
So obviously this card does not belong in this deck, and it's not even in the same, like, well, I guess it is about the same size. Okay, I was gonna say I thought this was a longer, skinnier card, but I guess it fits. We have clergy, which should not have been here, but here it is. Guardians of the faith, religion, morality, compassion, sacred mission. How very interesting that got mixed in here, right as we're talking about, like, why am I calling her? I mean, how can I not call her? I'm pulled toward her, the way, she's got an impact on me the way the tides are impacted on Earth. She has for a long time. Maybe this is him saying it's not right to fight it anymore. It's not right to block this when I know this. And then we bring in this like total spiritual component to it, where I don't know, there's something about that guardians of faith energy that comes across to me, and that sacred mission and compassion. We have a Two of Wands. I do not like this. I have to be honest. What I don't like about it is the indecisiveness. He's like, I don't know. I mean, like, I think this could be super, super meaningful. She is going to think by his phone call that, wow, you really know what you want. You're an emperor. And he's calling her with emotion, right? That was the first reason, because that Knight of Cups. We see him here saying, well, like, I want to come home. I'm done wandering. But nowhere here do I see him being like, I'm in love with this person, unless I'm misinterpreting. And he's like, this is a spiritual bond, always has been. I've always known this. I'm still connected to her. I don't know what this means. But why would you not know what to do or what this means? Maybe he just doesn't know what her reaction's going to be. Oh, well, we have a Four of Wands. Hang on. But this is after the Two of Wands. Give me one more on that Two of Wands. We have the Ten of Swords. Oh, it's just plain and simple. He doesn't know what he's walking into. He's calling to find out. He has to know the answer now. Is this where I belong, or is this like, she hates me, we're done, she never wants to speak to me? He's saying it could go either way, but for me, she's this constant pull. And there's some kind of like, I believe I'm meant to like reach out to her. I'm meant to be with her. Do you love her? Like, I'm not getting a whole lot of that from you. I'm getting like this, dodging the love thing, and instead taking it into like, well, there's this powerful meaning and there's this reason, but love is your best reason, honey. I mean, in my opinion, I don't like this part either. There's never going to be a time ever, this is me speaking as a real person, not just a storyteller, where I'm going to be down with anybody who uses like a, like a religious reason and say, oh, I'm, whatever, told to do this. Because I think that's a slippery slope to like crazy zealots. And I think that's a real scary, like blinded way to rationalize what you're doing. I think it's way better. People say, you know what, my higher self, I feel like this is a good thing to do because it's an act of kindness and it's an act of fairness and it's an act of balance, but not so much that it's like, like, I don't know. To me, there's a difference between the slippery slope of like sacred mission and I do this because I must, and I don't know, that can get crazy to me. Whereas I have no problem with it if it's like, oh, like positive emotions, the connection of my higher self, my internal wisdom and knowledge, those kinds of things, my heart, my intuition, those kinds of words I can get behind. But that worries me just a smidge on that one. We have the Dreamer. We have the Fool. For him, though, this is a big old leap of faith. He doesn't really know how this is going to go. He says it could go either way. I'm calling her because I feel like I have to, because I feel like she's either the person I'm supposed to end up with, or she's going to tell me that there's nothing here for me. And I don't really know what's going to happen, but I'm putting myself on the line to take the leap of faith. The only thing is, I hope he's not like, I've got to check to see, has she been sitting around faithful to me like a patient dog waiting for me to come home? That I'm not sure. There's all these elements of this storyline that still have me a bit confused, because This says, well, she calls to me. That's why I'm reaching out to her. And then there's this weird, like, I think that it's a spiritual thing and I'm taking this leap toward her, but I don't know if we're supposed to be married or if she hates me. That's a pretty big extreme on his part. Why do you think that it might be a 10 of swords or it might be the 4 of wands? That's two very extreme. Although remember, we started out and I said that the word extremophile comes to mind. And now I've just talked about, like, I don't like the whole religious zealot thing. That gets scary and dangerous. I feel like maybe that does keep coming up. Like, how come we have this, it could be like, oh, she loves me. She's the one for me. This is so spiritually, a bond. Or, oh no, this is hell in a handbasket and it's over. That does feel very like all of the best or all of the worst. We have a 4 of Pentacles. He hedges bets. Look at this. 4 of Pentacles is he holds back till he knows which direction the wind's going to blow. Oh, you don't want to risk too much. Well, that's not an emperor. An emperor risks it all because an emperor goes after what he wants. This fella, I guess we could say, well, he's picking up the phone. He's placing that phone call, and he is saying that he doesn't want to be like doing what he's done anymore. But I still don't. It's almost like then he's testing to see like what's her reaction going to be before then he can feel comfortable being like, okay, yes, we're meant to be. Yes, we're okay. Now I know we're supposed to be together. He holds back. So, okay, he's not doing it actually to be selfish though in this story. He's somebody who I do feel like he's grappling a little bit with, how should he proceed? I do feel like he's grappling with that. And on one hand, he may even think that he's, what am I supposed to do? Call up and say, here's how it's going to be. I'm in love with you. This is how it's going to be. He's maybe trying to respectfully say, this is what's changed in my life. I'm ready for long term. I'm ready for these things. And then like pausing to see what does she have to say? Like maybe she's had some other change in her life. Maybe she's married. Maybe she's this. Maybe she's that. And he's like giving space to hear what she has to say. And then based off of that, then he can start to, kind of step into that manifestation energy of the masculine and start to actually like get those wheels spinning in his brain about like, okay, based on her reaction, now I'll formulate the next thing to say. Again, if we start out with the fact that it was like, what inspired this story is somebody with like a dry mouth, which I don't know where that comes from because I don't have a dry mouth myself. That's not something I like pretty much ever have. You'd think I would talking so much, but no, I'm a spitty little bastard. This we got to remember that it started out with some nerves, right? And I could see him putting forth a certain amount of conversation and then kind of pausing to see, giving a break in the conversation to see what her response is. And it's kind of like this breathless anticipation of what is she going to say, and then I'll know which direction to move next. I don't think it's to like, okay, yeah, I wasn't interested in you either. I don't think it's for that purpose. I just think it's to like maybe even politely pause to see what is her response is, so he's not just blah 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 right at her without taking a breath. But I feel like it goes right back to a dry mouth in that moment of like waiting to hear her response. Wild card. Definitely that's going to be a tough moment to like pause and wait to hear what has she got to say. And he's still like, she could say anything. How would I know if she wants to talk to me or if I've just stepped in it? He's the one feeling like a pretty uncomfortable little lost pup here. How interesting. So this is definitely not easy for him, but she's over here thinking he's a full-blown emperor, not knowing like what it's costing him as far as like his discomfort level to communicate and to, like get a grip on how he's feeling and this the discomfort of I feel kind of now like his heart is in his throat. It's just that remember, he came across as a King of Swords. King of Swords, they manage their emotions differently, right? Maybe that's why we didn't have a ton of love. Instead, we saw him like rationalize it. Like, why am I calling her? Because I have to call her because she's on my mind 24/7 and always is and always has been for whatever, 7 years, 7 months, whatever this is. But I don't know if she will care about me or if she'll tell me to go pound sand. I can't speak for her. So it either could happen. And again, he's just being very logical. Like, you know, if he were dealing with emotions first instead of being a King of Swords about this, he might, handle this differently. But he's coming in as a King of Swords. That makes sense. Even the pauses and the listening to hear what is her response going to be. That also does fit together better now that I think of it in that context. Okay, so with that in mind, we clearly have him with his nice voice talking in her ear, and she's feeling all kinds of different about him right now, thinking he's coming across as an emperor. And the Ankh is here, this is the Egyptian symbol. I don't know if somebody like maybe wears an Ankh, like a necklace or something, or earrings, but it's a symbol of life. And I do feel like this is a renewed life. This is a new opportunity. And I feel like that is coming through in the way he's communicating to her, that he wants a new life, a different life than what he's had. Obviously, he doesn't want to be out there in the cold anymore or on that hermit's journey anymore. That hermit's card was in the reverse. So is he going to receive like the response from her in a way he can understand it? We got the King of Swords sideways. He almost, I think, have to like bonk him on the head with a mallet to have him be able to pick up the context clues. Remember Extremophile? I feel like it has to be in like, I invite you to my home. I am pleased to hear your voice. I would like to see your face in my presence. Like, you may have to say it that clearly for him to be sure about what her reaction is to him. Because this says he's still going to be confused no matter what she says, unless it's said in the most extreme way. Maybe that's why we get this, it's interesting because I'm having to learn this character. You notice that I've been struggling to like understand this character because they seem very, very literal, and it needs to be a complete sentence with it. Like, they're not going to assume or infer anything. They're not going to be like, well, she's talking to me. I can tell she's happy to talk to me. Oh, we have this bond still. This feels really good. He may not suggest that he come see her. She may have to invite him, or she may have to ask him point blank, do you want to see me? Is that what you're calling me for? Or what, she may have to be just direct with him. I think like conversation could be tough for these two because we got murkiness going on here. I don't know if it's willful murkiness. This feels like genuine bits of like, this is who they are. I have to be spoken to in a complete sentence. And if you fail to say one component that anybody else might typically just, randomly assume in, the context clues of conversation, this person doesn't. In fact, that's where they get lost. They don't do context clues. It has to be direct. So he's getting murky. He's not sure. And then we got the Four of Wands in the reverse. And in fact, he could actually say, because she wasn't clear, it must mean that she does not want me, because she did not expressly say that she wants me, that she wants to talk more to me, that she, like, this could go very badly if there is not extremely concise and clear language, which that could be a weird tempo shift for her. I don't know. Feminine, are you going to be able to roll with this? Will you understand this? 9 of Pentacles. There is a real sense of peace and calm to her. There is a sense of self-assuredness in her. That just says she's not going to get rattled by this. Palace of Cups. She has really deep emotions. And she's pretty fulfilled. She's pretty whole. By the way, she wears white a lot. With the Two of Cups, okay, here's, yikes, this is starting to freak me out a little bit because she's over here and she keeps like having strong feelings. She's saying, oh, they're clearly my Two of Cups. And he's over here saying, well, it looks like this isn't happening. They're on completely different pages, especially after he makes this phone call and he's not getting the feedback that he can clearly understand. And she's getting tons of what she believes is feedback where, oh, he's an emperor. He knows what he wants now. He's my Two of Cups. This is, you know, I have all of this emotion for him. I'm feeling really secure. And he's over here feeling like completely like this is probably not happening now. Okay, these two are going to crash and burn in this story if we don't get them some dialogue that they can both comprehend. Is that, hang on, universe, you weigh in on this. I'm getting lost in here. Is this their problem? Is that they don't have dialogue that they both understand? We have Strength card. We have the Six of Cups, and we have the Messenger of Wands. Strength card is courage, it's power. These are soulmates that have obviously wanted to find each other again. Obviously, the desire is there to speak, and here he's wearing the galaxy coat, so there's like the universe saying, look, I have been helping as much as I could. Okay, I have been helping as much as I could. Like, he had the courage to call, he had the courage to do these things, to reach out. Okay, but I'm concerned about them. We have the Death card. The universe is like, and this is their chance at a new beginning. Okay, yeah, all that looks great. But universe, what about the King of Swords sideways and the Four of Wands in the reverse? We have the Seven of Wands. He's still very convinced she's actually still not opening up to him, is blocking him, doesn't want him. In his mind, she has to invite him in. That's the big blockage. She has to invite him in. And with the Mastery of Cups in the reverse, now this is technically the King of Cups in the reverse, but we do have a Queen on it. He still says, I don't believe she loves me. Maybe he does not believe anybody loves him, though. That there had to be something to this where it's like he doesn't think that she loves him, or he doesn't think. Okay, we have the Nurturer of Coins now. This is actually the Queen of Pentacles, even though we have a King on this card. So I don't know if there's some element where he really doesn't believe that people love him, or that, but he had the courage to reach out to her. He doesn't want to be alone anymore. See, now I'm wondering if this wasn't so much about like, oh, he was gone for a career. Maybe he's like emotionally gone, usually, because love has not been something that he has had. Nurturing, feeling like there was, and he'd like to have that, but it's really, really, really hard for him to believe, even that somebody would want to have a happily ever after with him. It's like he doesn't believe in the very thing he most wants. But he's moving toward her. But universe, what's it going to take for... I guess what I would say is that this is maybe our most important message. He's hoping she, as a Queen of Pentacles, will step into a role of the masculine in making him feel welcomed, wanted, roll out the red carpet. But he's over here still not opening up emotionally, but insisting she's the one who probably won't love him, won't want him. Even though he's reaching out to her, there's still this belief that there's no way that she'll actually want me. But if he wants her, hopefully, to take the role of, like now, to take the role of masculine / feminine, and make it comfortable for him so that he can understand that he's wanted. But I don't know that he can put those things into words because, again, King of Swords sideways. Boy, we're doing a deep dive over here, aren't we? What's it going to take for him to understand? Because she's over here like, oh, he's my Two of Cups. Oh, he's an emperor. Oh, he's this and that. And he's on the inside. He's like, I don't believe anybody's ever going to want me. But I am so tired of being out on my own and alone. And I want her to want me, but I don't believe she could. Even if she says she does, I don't believe it. But I wish that she would try to make me believe it. What's it going to take? Okay, I don't know what his dark secret is, but he thinks he's a fallen angel. He thinks he's got those sooty angel wings. Here he is, back to being a king of swords. He needs to know that somebody still wants him in spite of whatever he believes is his oh so terrible flaw, which is probably nothing. But in his mind, it's been, blown out of this crazy proportion. And, oh, I'm so flawed. I'm the fallen angel. There's no way anyone could love me. And I just feel like, that he's got all those tats, those sleeves on his arms in this picture. Just because, tattoos, I mean, certainly can be words, but lots of times it's pictures. Those pictures are symbolic to the person who puts them on their body. And so a picture of, whatever, some, melting sun, with a flower underneath it. Somebody else might be like, cool sun, cool, and they don't understand that melting sun marks a day that, they had some very traumatizing experience. And, but you don't know sometimes what that body art is, other than it's always personal, right? So I'm just thinking, even if he doesn't have any tattoos on his body, I'm just saying that his, whatever it is kind of hidden in plain sight, his big secret about what he thinks is, a flaw or wrong with him. If he can be like, have his secret drawn out into the light and still be loved after somebody knows that about him, great. But he's not helping the situation because he's cloaking it, even if it's cloaked in plain sight. Honestly, I said I was having trouble understanding this character, and now this seems so simple. Now this seems so straightforward, doesn't it? It's like, oh, okay. It's just because he needs the actual invitation, and then he needs somebody to see what he sees is a negative in himself and know that about him, and also give him the confidence of like, what the hell's the big deal with that? Why are you judging yourself for that? I'm not judging you for that. Come here, give me a hug. Like, I just feel like he needs somebody to be kind of matter of fact or something, and like treat him like you're not actually a fallen angel, or okay, fine, you're a fallen angel. Guess what? I still want you. Maybe that's it. Because I don't know if anybody can change his mind about himself. It's set. This is who he says he is. But see me as a fallen angel and want me anyway. And if you see me as this wonderful emperor, then I know you don't see the real me. And so now I know you couldn't want the real me. I'd rather you look at me and see my flaws and then tell me if you still want me. That could be what this is all about. And that, again, could be one of their biggest struggles, because she's over here kind of like, he's my Two of Cups. This is so amazing. And he's like, don't you get it? I'm, scarred. I'm not your emperor. I'm a messed up, scarred up angel here. I'm sooty little angel wings over here. I got all kinds of, flaws. If you can't see that in me, then there's no way you could really be loving the real me. Again, this is so unfortunate because he has such a negative image in his mind. That's not how she sees him, but that's the part his brain can't wrap around. So it's like, no, you have to see me as a monster and then tell me if you still love me. It's like, well, you're not a monster. Okay, fine. Whatever, you're a monster. Yes, I still want you. Like, that's almost what he needs to hear, is what it seems like in this story. Because I said, what's it going to take for him to be able to understand that she loves him? And it was see him as he sees himself. Interesting. We've got liberation. Has the Judgment card. And this is like, it's so crazy because that is, I think that's the simplest way we could have said this. Sorry, it took me a long time to get there, but we got to unpack these characters, right? That would set him free more than anything. If somebody can see him in the negative light that he sees himself in, and still want him, that would be the most liberating. Then he would sense or believe that, okay, she really does want me. Okay, so I mean, I guess what, she's not supposed to think so highly of him, and yet this is a bit of a convolution, though, isn't it? Because don't think highly of me, but want me anyway. And then it's like, but I do want you to think highly of me. It's just, I can't accept it if you can't see my flaws first. There's a lot of fear in this person that they can't be loved, but they really would like to be. Universe, is this going to work? Because now I can see how it could work. 10 of Cups. Universe is like, yep. Whatever. Look, every couple takes their own route, right? And they find their own way to, if they love each other anyway, they find a way to, and I don't think it can be like proven or discussed necessarily in one conversation. It's like in the movies where they have one conversation that everything's perfect and everybody understands everything. I think real relationships are always built, one day at a time, one experience together, shared, and you put those together, and over the course of like 5 years even, or the course of, time spent together, that's where you start to develop the comfort zone and the trust and the belief that, oh, this person has seen me in a lot of different ways. They've seen me on a lot of different days. They've seen me ugly. They've seen me snotty. They've seen me stinky. They've seen me all these different ways, and they still stay. You're not going to get to that point, though, unless you start staying, and then you see if every day you keep staying. And this says that they can be really, really good together, but they do have to, if he pushes this away, then no, they're never going to have this relationship. This actually says they may embark on this relationship, and she's thinking it's going to be great, and he's thinking this will never work. I don't think she really wants me. And he's going to be the one who has to like wrap his head around that. But I think bit by bit, either the walls are going to drop, or bit by bit, she'll understand that about him. Like, oh, you think that you're a mess, but I have to see you as the mess and then still tell you that I want you. Oh, I get it. That could be the thing that frees this whole thing up. And it's like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now we're really good together. I didn't know that was your hang up. Okay, once I get to that, then I can understand you better. And also that's where the real like trust can start to be built, because this says they're going to be great together. I know this was like, whoa, this was a tough one to unravel. But even at the beginning, we had this like, okay, the 10 of Cups can work out now. And sure enough, we end with the 10 of Cups. We just had a winding path for these two to get to really know each other. All right, I'm going to leave this one here. Oh my goodness, that was a lot of unpacking, and definitely this was a very strong energy of like he was a King of Swords all through this. I don't know if I've ever seen that many of just one card keep coming up to describe a character. So Libra, Gemini, Aquarius for him for sure. But yeah, definitely like a very cerebral character also. And for all their intelligence, they told themselves a pretty negative story about themselves. And yet she's been like crazy in love with them all this time, but I don't think they loved themselves that way. I don't know if they've ever been loved that way. There has to be some part of them, though, some part of them inside that knew she loved them that way, or they never would have come back into her world and finally said, I don't want to be alone anymore. Like, I think that they told themselves that they were going to stay alone their whole life. And I think they just couldn't do it, not with her. They wanted to come back in, but they still kind of wanted to sabotage it a bit. But I don't think they're going to be able to sabotage this one. I think, number one, I think they don't want to sabotage it. They just don't know how not to. But I kind of think that these two are going to make it. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave this here. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you guys. Hi, Katala, Wendy E, Ginger Montague, Insa Mom, hi. I know, I was like, you guys always put the cute little owls in the comments, and I was like, I better match you guys. So I finally got got a nice little owl necklace. Lilubelle, thank you, honey. I'm so glad to be back. Tammy Secord, namaste, my love. So good to see you. Empress Unicorn 111, Calm Sea, Anna Boyle, wonderful to see you. Rachel's Magic, thank you, love. Thank you so much for reminding me. I so appreciate you guys giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. Hey, Melly, and thank you for letting me know that the sound was funky there for a minute. San Juanita, thank you for being here, hun. Hi, Mon. The Loud Whisper. Gallet Marks. Shout out to you in Bali. Hi, Bridget Gore. I'm so happy to be back. Hey, nice to see you. Hi, Joey. Divine Roberts. T-Baby. Hi, Vernell. Oh, thank you guys. I appreciate you letting me know earlier on. Nikki O. Rare Lestrange. Hi, Denise. Oh, excuse me, Denise. I don't know why I just said that. Yes, it was totally buffering there. And you're right. It will throw the audio off in the first buffer. And if I do it a second time, it's actually like a reconnect that I have to do. It seems like it course corrects the audio again. So, hey, Bradley Bear. Hallelujah. Nice to catch you, love. Deep Blue Night Thoughts. Hi. That's awesome. It's time. And it's so nice to see you tonight, Nikki O. Hi, Lori. Terry A. Thank you, love. I missed you guys too. Chrissy, Annette Summersby. And again, thank you so much, Cataclysmic Awakening. You were so incredibly generous. And again, welcome everyone that is now a member, courtesy of Cataclysmic Awakening. So, Divine Feminine 111, Legina Davis, Amy Milliken, Elizabeth, and Courtney Taylor. Nicole Meeks, hi. Sunflowers Moon Power. 808 Hawaii. Shay, so glad you're here. Thanks again, Lori and Wendy E. Also, you guys. All right, I'm going to bounce on out of here and go over to the other channel. If you guys are up late, I'll probably still see you. Julie. Awesome. I'm so glad to hear that you're still in Bali. Oh, I hope you're soaking up a wonderful time there. Diamond, I'm so delighted. Welcome to your first live. Hi, Marabuka. Thank you, Shay. All right, everybody. I will see you on the other side. Bye for right now.